Welcome. Today, I'm sharing what is the one thing most people get wrong about speaking positively. Hi, I'm Nile Harris. I'm a coach, advisor, speaker, and educator working with businesses, professionals, and entrepreneurs to transform your passion and purpose into profit. Now, before we get started with the one thing most people get wrong about speaking positively, I would love it if you would take a moment to follow me at I'm Nile Harris on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also on LinkedIn. And also, if you would follow hashtag Hot Tip Tuesday and hashtag Warrior Unleashed for even more great content to help you achieving your goals. Now, let's get started with the one thing most people get wrong about speaking positively. Now, the law of attraction is a very real thing. Whether you read The Secret or whether you are a fan of Napoleon Hill's books, we know that how we speak attracts what we want to us. Having a positive mindset, having a growth mindset is what helps us in achieving our goals. And most people understand this and get this right. And it's not hocus pocus, it is actual quantum physics. Everything vibrates at a certain level. And when you vibrate at that level or that frequency, you begin to attract things to you. And also how our brains work. When we think of more about what we need to do and what we want to achieve, we start to make micro decisions, as I like to call them, that helps our brain be our greatest ally in achieving success. And part of that law of attraction is speaking those things as if they already exist or speaking positively. Now, right now, your life, my life, is the result of all of the words and actions we have spoken. And the words that we speak or how we feel end up in our mind. Those are our actions. Our actions then create our lives. We are the architects of our lives. Things do happen to us, but sometimes, more of the times, those things are happening for us. I know there are a lot of things in my life that happened were awful when they happen and were frustrating, anxiety feeling when they happen, but they forced me into something else that was actually even better for me, rejection being protection, that sort of thing. And so when we think about what is that when we speak about positively, what is it that most people are doing incorrectly? Close, but incorrectly. So here, I'm going to have you do a little test. I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'm going to pause and give you a moment to think about the answer. And then I'm going to ask you to think about that answer. So here it is. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to pause, or you can hit pause if you need a little bit more time for you to think about the question, think about your answer, and then I'm going to show you something. So the question is, tell me what you want out of your next job or your next professional experience or your next business. What do you want out of your next job, professional experience, or your business? And I'm going to pause for just a moment. You can also hit pause if you want to. Okay, great. What did you come up with? If you immediately went to a list of, well, I don't know, I don't want this, I don't want this, and I don't want this, you are making one of the most common mistakes that people make when it comes to positive thinking or positive speaking. Instead of listing all of the things that you want, you listed the things that you don't want. Your brain gets that message. The negative word, the don't, does not register. All the brain hears, all the universe hears is the word. So if you said, well, I don't want a crappy boss, all your brain heard was crappy boss. All the universe heard was crappy boss. So you're speaking it, you must want it, because what we focus on expands. What we focus on expands. It becomes bigger because that's what we're giving our energy to. Instead of saying, I don't want a crappy boss. Say, I want a great leader who will develop me. Then your brain starts to look for that sort of opportunity and will reject anything that doesn't line up with that. Then you begin to vibrate in such a way that a great leader has no choice but to come toward you. There is a reason, however, that your brain focused straight on the negative, straight on the negative instead of speaking in the affirmative. Your brain, my brain, everyone's brain has a negativity bias. See, the brain's only job is to keep us alive. It needs to make sure we're breathing, walking, avoiding danger. It's constantly scanning for danger. And any change, our brain is like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And the case is, the brain doesn't know that the changes are either in our favor and they serve us or they don't serve us. The brain just recognizes, hey, something has changed and it doesn't like it. And so when we think about something, we will perceive the negative of it first. Here's another example. In your last review, or maybe a testimonial, if you were working with a client and you asked for feedback and they told you what you did well, they had a litany of things that you did well. And then they said, well, there's this one thing, this one piece of feedback that I would love to see you work on. Question: how much time did you spend dwelling on the part where they wanted you to change, sort of the negative or the critical feedback? How much time did you spend on that? You may have spoken to this person for 30 minutes, and for 20 minutes, they were singing your praises. For 5 minutes, they were like, hey, this is where I would like to see something change. Vast majority of that conversation was positive, and you dwelled on that negative, that one thing that was probably good, solid feedback, and you threw out the rest of it. Don't worry, it wasn't you. It was your brain, because the brain is a negativity bias. It's going to focus on the negative. And so we have to be actively thinking about what we want. I call it speaking in the affirmative. So instead of saying things like, and here's some exercises that I want you to do over the next week, and I want you to write this down, and I want you to be very aware, because you do this more than you think. For example, when you say, hey, don't forget to give the dog their medicine. What your brain heard was, forget to give the dog the medicine. What you should say instead is, remember to give the dog their medicine. So you're changing it from the negative, which is don't forget to give the dog their medicine, to the affirmative, remember to give the dog their medicine. It's little changes like that. I do this constantly. When I catch myself saying, don't forget, I say, nope, remember to do this. Set reminders for myself. Oh, set a reminder to do this, right? So you're doing it a lot more than you actually realize. And I want you to get a pen, paper, write down some of those sentences or things that you're saying that are in the negative, and think about how you can flip them into the affirmative. When someone asks you, well, what do you want? Answer with what you want. Don't say, I don't know, to preface it. Pause, think about it, collect your thoughts, and then speak those things that you want, so that your brain is real clear on it, the universe is real clear on it, and you will begin to vibrate. If you are a fan of The Secret, if you are a fan of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, this is exactly the concept that these books are talking about. Now, we tend to focus on like the big things when we think about the law of attraction. It is the little things. It's the little things and thoughts and words and sentences that get us. So this is it. This is the one thing that most people get wrong about thinking and speaking positively. They speak in the negative rather than in the affirmative. So going forward, you and I, we're going to speak in the affirmative. We're going to say what we want. So I want, in this example, I want a leader who is a great boss who will develop me. Get specific. Also, in these sort of everyday moments, think about what you want. You don't want to forget to feed the dog. You want to remember to give the dog their medicine. You want to remember to call somebody. You always want to be speaking and thinking in the affirmative. It will become easier the more you practice this. And the more you practice it, you will begin to see a shift in the micro decisions that you make, because our successes aren't the result of big, massive acts. They are the culmination of small, deliberate acts. And those small, deliberate acts start with having a disciplined mind, a mind that is focused and making micro decisions on what we want. Not what we don't want, but what we want. That is it. Speak in the affirmative always, as much as you possibly can. So over the next week, write down those things that you've been saying, write down what it is you're going to say. I would love to hear how that works out for you. Let me know by popping in the comments or sending me an instant message or DM. Let me know how this goes for you. I would love to hear. It gets easier over time. And that's it. And I would love it if you would take a moment to follow me at I am Nile Harris on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Catch my YouTube channel. Also, Wednesdays at 7. I don't know when you're watching this video, but Wednesdays right now, Wednesdays at 7, I co-host a room about business basics unleashed, and we talk about a different business concepts every week. And you can also check out Business Basics Unleashed course that is coming out fall of 2021. Again, I don't know when you're watching this video, but check me out, imnileharris.com, and I will talk to you soon, warrior.